Man, I haven't had the ice cream in a long time. I'm actually craving some ice cream. Some Choco Tacos. Did you guys watch Bon Appetit Choco Taco episode? Why does it keep fucking failing on me?
And then your camera cuts out. Yeah, I did though. I did watch the
The
Choco
fuck?
Taco
And then you
episode.
guys start chopping up when that happens. Oh Lord. Maybe let me. Here, you guys chat for 1 second, all right? Welcome to the
I'm
show,
trying,
guys.
dude.
I mean, talking about the ice cream man. It
Yeah,
was a
talk about
couple weeks ago. I was playing. I was playing Warzone with a friend of mine who streams, and we're in the middle of a game when the ice cream truck drives by my house, blaring the music super loud, and all you can hear in the background of the stream as we're playing Warzone is the Mr. Softy theme, whatever that song is. What is it like?
Yeah, that's the one. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I have to get a clip of that and show you guys later. It's pretty funny.
Did you stop the stream?
No.
Oh, well, it says it stopped streaming a minute ago.
Really?
Trying to
Oh,
refresh.
God.
Now it's live again. I don't fucking know, dude.
What's going on here?
Um,
What is going on here? All right, looks like we're good. We'll see. Hopefully my camera doesn't cut out.
Probably will.
These
Are
fucking
you trying to
cam
just use the
links.
Canon stuff? Or are you using the cam link?
No, I've been using the cam link, and I haven't had any issues with it. But today, maybe it's hot and it's overheating or something. I don't know. All right. Anyways, what is up, everyone? We don't have too much for you today. We'll try to go through it quick. We do have some news, but you guys know what we do. I do want to get into gaming. I want to gush about Divinity Original Sin 2. I've been addicted to this game. So I got the game when right around when it first came out. Was it like 2016? I want to say. Because Shindo actually was gushing about it. He said it's an amazing game. You have to check it out. I pick it up, and when I started playing it, I was not quite into it. Really, I found it to be a little slow, and I found the learning curve to be really high. And I guess at the time, I just wasn't into learning how to play this game because there is, I would say, a considerable learning curve if you haven't played like D&D style games before, which I haven't. Nothing, at least nothing to this
it's a
level.
CRPG, dude. If you don't know CRPG, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, there's a lot to kind of dig into, and I didn't know any of that. I thought I was going to get into something like XCOM meets Diablo or something, and that's not the case. I mean, this is like a really in-depth title, but I've been bored. I've been looking for a good RPG to get into, and I'm very happy that I dove back into this one because I'm addicted, man. It is really, really good. In terms of just like the way that the detail of the game is and the types of choices that you can get into, the variety of the game, the size of the maps, the writing of the game, very Witcher 3-esque. I love it. It really does kind of throw me back into The Witcher 3, just in a different style of gameplay. One that's a lot more tactical, one that relies a lot more on slowing down and, taking in all of the reading and all of the dialogue, and you're really just playing like an actual RPG, and I've been fucking digging it, man. I have been digging it. I can't gush about it enough. If you guys need a really good detailed RPG, check it out. There's a learning curve, and you're going to have to do, there's a lot of reading involved. So if you're not someone who's trying to get into any of that, then you're not going to like this game. Because that's how I was in the beginning. I didn't really want to take the time to get into it. So I kind of fell out of it. I played a few hours of it, and I was just like, it's not for me. But now that I have nothing much to do, and I've been looking for this type of gameplay, I couldn't be more happy, man. This game is really incredible. I think I'm about 20 hours in right now, maybe a little less than that. I would say about 20 hours in right now. And I mean, I haven't even really progressed that far in the game, and I'm looking online to see exactly how far or how much gameplay is needed. There's just so much to do, and there's so much variety, and the fights take a little while. There's a ton of variety in the way that the combat works, and I really haven't even progressed that far. But it feels like I've been playing for a while now, which is awesome. I think that's great. I think that just is a testament to how much detail the game is. Can you guys hear the ice cream man? Oh, okay, good. Maybe that's my RTX voice working right there. But yeah, the maybe it's a testament to the detail of the game, just because everything that I come across, I get distracted with. It's kind of like how The Witcher 3 is. When I play it, I'll do a mission, and then on my way to that mission, I meet a bunch of fucking people, NPCs, that give me all these different quests, and then I dive into, their backstories, and I dive into the side characters in there, and you just kind of get taken away onto the side quest, and then you find your way back to the main mission, and that's what I've been doing here, just taking it slow, going through it, and I've been having a fucking blast, man. I wish I knew more about the Switch port. I'm interested in playing it on the Switch. I'm playing it on PC now, and the graphics are amazing. The graphics are absolutely incredible. I can't imagine how well it's ported over to the Switch, but I do want to check it out eventually. Because that was one of the things that I realized playing it on PC. I was like, this game is also absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it is a really great looking game. The sound design is excellent. The writing is excellent. Everything is voiceovered. There's a great narrator that kind of follows you along and narrates everything. Really incredible game. And I know that it's, critically acclaimed, and I know a lot of people do enjoy it. But I do think more people should try to experience it, just because if you have the patience to kind of give it its time, I think you will enjoy it if you like games like The Witcher 3. So that's pretty much all I've been playing recently was Divinity. I wanted to come on here and gush about it for a little bit because I've been loving it, man. Have you played it, Jerry?
Yeah, done in a while, but it's good. Like, if you gotta like CRPGs, I do have to stress that. Like, if you're not into that D&D CRPG isometric angle style game, it's that to the core.
Yeah.
But if you like that style of game, it's the best, hands down.
It is.
You can kill people with paintings.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I got into this one scenario where I slept with this prostitute and they took my clothes and I was able to weasel my way out. And then I ended up having to take down the entire wing of that town just because everyone was involved with this main pimp that was going on. And I'm going to miss out on a ton of side missions, but it's just what I had to do. I didn't know that. Otherwise I would have never had I would have never been able to get my gear back from this person. So I had to just wipe out that entire faction. And I mean, that took hours, that was just something that I got lost into. And that's what I think role-playing games really kind of bring to the table. Because you do start to kind of get into you kind of get nerdy with it and you get into it. And I thought that was really cool. And that's when I was hooked. I was like, Jesus Christ, this game is there's so much to do here. So fun. Good stuff. But that's it. That's really what I've been playing. Oh yeah, and I've been going back to Doom Eternal. I'm trying to get through it on Nightmare. It's so hard, dude. It's so tough on Nightmare. But I've been having fun with it. All right, anything with you guys? Anything new? You guys waiting for Last of Us?
No. Mostly, honestly, I started playing ESO again. That's about it.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about doing that, too, because the Greymoor is out now. I think it's out, right? It
came out yesterday, but it was a mess. So.
Oh, was it?
Good luck trying to play it.
Really?
Yeah, no, just too many people trying to get on at the same time, so they start having to do server queues, stuff like that.
Interesting.
And I heard all of Europe was down for 16 hours.
So interesting.
The plight of having a single server.
Yeah. It's a great MMO from what I've played. I haven't gone through the hundreds and hundreds of hours on it, but from what I've played, I enjoyed it. If you like Skyrim, if you like those types of Bethesda games, it just gives you more of that. You know what I mean?
Seems pretty good so far, because I haven't played a ton of it. From what I understand, it's a really great system for leveling up and stuff like that, and crafting's a lot of fun. There's a lot of elements of the game on the more casual side, I guess, so to say, that they've done fantastically. But I've heard the end game's kind of stuff to be desired, so we'll see. Yeah. Whenever I get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about it. There's everything you do, you get a little bit of a reward. Everything you do. You walk and then you get oh, here's your walking points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like that personally.
Yeah.
That as like
I
the
think it's
the
cool because it
hardcore
makes me
MMO
want to
person,
go
fuck
into
that.
more like of the obscure things like the crafting stuff and the enchanting. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do it. Um, but when you play, did you start at level 0 or do you hop in at level 50? I don't know how they do that.
No, I started one.
So you have to play through the whole thing and
Well, like, do you have
boost up.
do you have a character at 50?
No.
I mean, nothing changes. You start with whatever characters you had.
Yeah, I
It's like an
remember.
expansion. It's not like a restart.
I remember. Doesn't WoW do that where you hop in with an expansion and they start you out at like whatever level that expansion is?
No, it's your character just stays the same.
Okay.
Like that's how
What am I
MMOs
thinking
expansions
of?
work. You don't lose your characters or
Maybe
anything
it's
like that.
Destiny.
It's
Maybe
all the
Destiny
same.
does that. I think Destiny does that where
Not that I can think of. I can't think of an MMO where you restart an expansion.
yeah, no, not you don't restart. I mean, if your characters are there, the characters stay the same. But if you were to start actually playing through whatever Destiny is at now, you start at like that power level that is base. I think it's like 750, and then
So
you kind of
WoW,
light level up. You know what I mean?
yeah, WoW kind of has that, but not really.
'Cause
So
I
the
know
way
ESO
WoW
didn't
does,
have any of that when I started it. You were just
yeah.
0.
So with WoW, they kind of have that with the character boosts. So when you buy an expansion, you get a free boost to 10 levels under the new expansion. So you get a boost to the max cap of the last expansion.
Yeah.
So you do get one of those for free, or you can buy them for $60, which is insane because in WoW right now you can level up a character in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money.
Yeah. Yeah, the
way
same with ESO
does
from
it,
what I hear. You can level up pretty quickly if you need
yeah,
to.
the ESO, the way they do it, nothing really changes other than new content unlocks. But that's mostly because, again, going to why I think some people don't like ESO Endgame is ESO Endgame sounds weird. Basically, you get to level 50, which is the max, but then you get champion points, they're called, but they're like, they're basically Paragon levels.
Yeah.
And that goes up to 810. But anything after 160, the gear is all of the same power level. So
Yeah.
160 is the max power level of any gear. So when a new expansion comes out, there is new gear, but it's not it's not better than the gear you already have.
Yeah.
Which is great for, like I said, it seems like it's a very, very good casual MMO. As someone like me, I want the new gear. I want better gear.
Yeah.
That sounds bad. But we'll see. I'll see. I'm liking it so far. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty I like how immersive it is, but if you're trying to kind of like get into like the power leveling, that's one thing I heard is lacking is how they do that. I don't know why they choose to do that either. That doesn't seem to make much sense,
I mean, dude, there's a lot of things. I don't know. ESO is very weird to me so far because I really like it and I really like a lot of it. I at first hated the combat system, like when I first tried it like 6 months ago, but now I'm vibing with it more. That I'm like finding better classes and stuff like that, and I actually understand it a little bit better. And it is, I mean, it for better or worse, it is an MMO designed to also be played on console.
Mm-hmm.
So it plays like that on PC too. Like I feel like it would be more fun playing it on a controller sometimes.
Yeah, I actually do play it on a controller.
Not what I want in an MMO, but at the same time, for that design, it's very fluid and it works really well.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it to an extent. I'm not over the hill with it, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. That said, we'll see about Endgame. Like that's the rough part where it's like if you're not really actually gaining anything from doing new content, then like why bother?
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Which stinks because the story is great. The story is absolutely great. Most of the class designs are a little too basic for me, but that's again going back to the controller thing. I think some of them could be fleshed out a lot more, and you could have more classes than they have available.
Yeah, they limit you with the amount of skills that you can put out there.
It's not even so much that there's a limited amount of skills that you can put on your action bar. Like that's fine, I think, and that can still work. It's the fact that you're so limited with the amount of skills you can get, period.
Yeah.
Like your base class has what, 12 skills that can morph into 24 more. But so what, you have a total of like 24 skills possible,
Yeah.
but you can really only get half of them. So at most you can really only get 12 skills from your class. That's lame.
Yeah.
Like,
And especially considering like all of the skills you can do for any character. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's like no matter what you play,
And
you
like
still have
some
those
of those
same
are really
skills.
good. And that's part of what I'm having this weird dichotomy is like the skills you can just like the bow skills and the two-handed sword skills are better than any class I've found. Like straight up, they feel better than any fucking single class skill I've played, basically. I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing too, the way that the attacking kind of stacks up. It just favors just how much higher your attack is. So the two-handed weapons are always going to be more powerful than a one-handed weapon. It's kind of like how Grim Dawn kind of does it, where you just want to get the highest attack value on your weapon, and that's what's going to scale the best. So you'll have like, you'll want to play a ranger, or you'll want to play like a sword with a shield, but your two-handed swords are just going to always be way better in terms of like just attack values. Yeah, they have like a bunch of weird shit like that. I like it just because it's more Skyrim, basically.
Yeah, no, there's the story and like once,
and it is immersive. It's a very immersive MMO.
And like there's a shit ton to do. You get housing, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the housing's cool.
Their bank systems aids. The bag system sucks ass.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of things.
There's a lot of microtransactions.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with it is like the amount of money gouging that goes on in that game.
Have you seen
none of it is power related, because that's the crux of the game. Is it's a casual game, so you can only like once you hit 160, it's impossible to get more powerful except for cheesing things basically and knowing how to play a class. Like there's still skill involved to do better, but like once you hit 160, there's nothing better. You can't buy something that is better, but there's so many fucking cosmetic things. There's so much shit.
There's
that's
so
like,
much.
You can't do half of the dungeons in the game unless you buy an overpriced single DLC basically just for the fucking dungeon.
Yeah.
Like that's dumb. But the biggest thing that like kills me is the ESO Plus thing, where the ESO Plus does seem like a good value.
Yeah, that's what I was using. ESO Plus.
Right, but the problem with that looking like it's such a good value is cool. It's a subscription-based MMO now for a game that shouldn't be a subscription-based MMO.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that they give
There's
you
too
like
much power tied behind ESO Plus, basically.
You have to get it just for the sole fact for the inventory.
Yeah.
If you ever plan on
you
having
can't
any
manage
inventory.
your inventory without it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can, but
they basically force you. Yeah, they basically force you to get the subscription, which I didn't mind because I was having a good time playing it, and I loved the housing stuff because you can get any asset that's in that game and put it in your house, which I think is really cool. But like I said, I haven't gotten to endgame. I don't know what it's like past those levels and if it's even worth that value.
And the ESO Plus thing is. It is a good value for what it is, but again, it just seems so counterintuitive in nature. So basically, the way it works is you pay $15 a month, you get double your bag space, double your bank space, and you get the most important item, period, out of all of ESO Plus is the crafting bag, which you can only get if you stay subscribed. So because the ESO has 50 million goddamn crafting ingredients.
Yeah.
Basically.
You have to get it.
You need an unlimited storage for it, or like you're
crafting's
just never
a huge part of the game
else.
too.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of the game.
But that's fine. That's cool. I don't like that you can only get the crafting bag. I think you should be able to just outright buy the crafting bag. I would feel much better if you could do that.
If it was like $60 or something.
Yeah, like if you could just pay one time and have the crafting bag, like that would make me feel more or less like this is less scummy. The thing that I also I don't get, like, it's just illogical to me is, so it's $15 a month and you get, they're main microtransaction currency in this game is called crowns. And now crowns you can send to other players, so you can buy crowns with gold if you're just being like a regular non-ESO plus person and you want cosmetics or dungeons or something. So you can still buy them. But if you have this plus, they give you a monthly allotment of crowns equal to you would spend for $15 worth. So you get 1650 crowns, which if you spent $15, you would get 1500 crowns.
Yeah.
But the main thing you're supposed to do with those crowns is buy the DLCs. So you can buy DLCs with those.
Mm-hmm.
But ESO Plus unlocks all of the DLC.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to pay a subscription for a couple of months to have all the DLC unlocked, while you then use your crowns to permanently unlock the DLCs if you ever cancel the ESO Plus.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a backward. I don't know, dude. That's so fucking weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I never did. I just saved the crowns, and if like I'll buy a mount with it. Sometimes they have fun mounts that you can only get with crowns and stuff, and I don't know. I don't like the whole currency thing. I don't like what they did with, I don't really like the way they do that crafting bag. I wish they would allow it. I don't know, figure out a better way for free players to kind of get in. Because as soon as I got it and downloaded it, I was playing it. I was like, oh, this is great. An hour into it, I'm like, wait a second, I'm encumbered already. What does this mean? And then I find out, oh, none of your crafting, all your crafting is tied to your weight now. And in order for you to have all that crafting stuff, you need the crafting bag. And I was like, oh, that's how they get you. Now I have to pay the subscription fee. I would much rather them say, look, if you want to play this game, you have to pay the subscription fee. It's interesting on how they kind of get around that.
Yeah,
especially since you have to buy the game
better too. But the problem with that is they do make enough content, it seems like, to justify a 15-month subscription fee like WoW.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Same time, they really don't.
Yeah, I don't really mind. And supposedly it's the biggest MMO world that's been made, and has the most dialogue. That's a stat they like to put out there. I don't know if that's true, but
and that's cool. But again, it's got to be meaningful content. That's my issue. So I have a hard time saying, yeah, I'm going to spend $15 a game if it's cool. There's more stuff added, but if it's meaningless, like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend $15.
Yeah, I stopped my subscription like maybe a couple months ago. I stopped playing it. Now I might hop in it, another, I don't know, sometime in the future, maybe after Divinity. We'll see. But it is fun though. It is a fun little MMO if you need something to kind of kill some time, sink some hours into. It does get addicting.
It's easy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you want a casual MMO, like it is easy mode.
Yeah. All right, Doobie, any new games?
Just two. One that I'm currently downloading at the moment. Let's actually see. Yeah, it's currently downloading, which is Phantasy Star Online 2. We're talking about MMOs. Unfortunate that as far as the PC release goes, it is Windows 10 Store exclusive.
Wow.
But
interesting.
No, yeah, it's live on PC now, so I'm downloading it. It's free. It's Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh, this is just released
out for like 7 years.
Oh, this is just released on PC.
No, it's just released in the US on PC.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been out in Japan for like God knows how long. But yeah, I'm gonna check that out. A lot of people I know are playing it. So, other than that, I finished Trails of Cold Steel 1 on stream, and immediately jumped into the second game because it leaves off on a huge cliffhanger.
Okay.
It's fun, just fun RPGs. Just my best description of them are they're like JRPG soap operas.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a new character that's
kind of like Yakuza.
Crazy.
Yakuza kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's like in each chapter, it's like, at the end of the first game, you find that there's a traitor amongst the mist, and it's just like all of these characters keep turning allegiances back and forth, and very much like a soap opera. There's always something at the end of the chapter that keeps you wanting more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a 10 out of 10 on Steam from what I'm looking at.
It's very, very anime. but very good.
Okay.
It's the 6th game in a currently 9-game series that's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, but real quick, I do want to mention Doobie is currently using the RTX voice modulator, and I am noticing, Doobie, when you speak, there seems to be like processing going on. Like it sounds as if I can't hear your fan right now because he's got his fan on, but I can hear. Just talk real quick. I'm gonna see if I can try to explain.
you
this.
can hear like
I
probably
can,
the RTX processing the fan out.
yeah, I can hear it like working the highs of your voice, kind of like drone. They kind of like bring it down a little bit.
It's like really weird, bad auto tune.
Yeah, kind of that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound bad though. It's not like it's not like unlistenable, which is pretty surprising. Like, because it sounds like your fan is right on you. When you talk, I can hear your fan sometimes pop through.
Yeah, the funny thing is it's like across the room in the window.
But doesn't sound.
But
It doesn't sound
yeah,
terrible.
I'd put it on. I have a GTX, but there's a way to put it on the GTX. You just have to run the installer, have it tell you you can't use it because you don't have RTX, and then you open up. I think it's like one of these like files we open up in a notepad, and you just remove one of the exceptions from the code, save it, and then run it again, and it just runs right fine on your GTX, like 1080 or
You're
1070.
It's just changing a config or like a DLL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just fucking allow it?
To sell RTX cards.
Yeah, but that's not something that's gonna sell it.
It is a little bit more than that because I have looked into it. It's partially, yes, you could say part of it is to sell RTX cards. The biggest part is what they're using for the most part to do RTX voice is like those tensor cores that you're not using for anything else because you're not playing a ray trace game. Let's be real. So they're just using the hardware that's otherwise useless basically in your card at the moment. So if you don't have that, it does affect performance. That's why they don't want to sell it and open it up. And it, from what I've seen, is it can affect performance a lot.
Really?
Like there's actually a lot going on with the RTX voice where the part of it is they don't want to necessarily open it up to
that makes sense.
a lot of the lower end cards because it could like there's some games where people were seeing like 40% performance hits and stuff
Holy shit.
like that.
That
Like
makes
I imagine a 1050 you wouldn't want to run on that.
No,
but
like
I think a 1080,
even a
you can run it.
1060, like a 1080, yes, but I probably wouldn't push lower
Which is like
than that.
at that point
honestly.
really is the highest besides the 1080 Ti. It's the highest you're going in that GTX line at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they really gonna move more? Are they really gonna?
I mean, the
push up to
1660 Super is still a GTX card, and that's basically a 1070 Ti. It's close. So like that you should be able to run it on, but again, expect to take a frame hit basically. If you're
but
using
with
it
our
at the same time.
Yeah, I'm talking about like future card development. We're pretty much done with the GTX line, right? It's all the RTX now.
Supposedly, we'll see.
They're not gonna push out a GTX 2080.
No.
Yeah.
Not a high end. No, but there might still be a couple of low end. They're trying to make it sound like they're not going to have a low end one, but it's also NVIDIA and they make 30 goddamn cards for every architecture, so they'll probably have one, even though they're saying they won't.
True.
Yeah. All right, into news. I saw this earlier in the week. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is the Marseille M Classic Nintendo Switch upscaler. So I didn't know that this existed, but it's essentially, it delivers anti-aliasing, 4K upscaling, as well as a bevy of post-processing effects like image sharpening and depth of field enhancement. It is the graphics card upgrade Nintendo Switch gamers have been waiting for. So when I saw this, I was like, what on earth is this thing? And it just basically takes this little chip and throws it in between your HDMI ports and upscales your Nintendo Switch to force 4K performance. And it looks really good. So here you have like an example of the Marseille M Classic on Luigi's Mansion. And you can see it, it drastically smooths things out. The upscaler looks like it's working really well. This is really cool. I kind of want to pick one up just to see how it works. if you're playing your Nintendo Switch on a 4K TV, you're gonna notice that it's a little more jaggy than you're used to, just because it's upscaling so heavily. And any amount of anti-aliasing, any amount of post-processing going on will help it out. And this does it really well.
Curious though. I'm curious to see how. This seems like a very niche product to me, and it is, but it seems like a cool niche product. But how much does it cost?
Let's see here. This is let me see if I can find where you can buy it.
Because the point I'm trying to get to, and what I'm wondering is, this might not also be for everyone if your TV is good at naturally upscaling content.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems like it's
$100.
That's what I was going to guess. I'm guessing it's $100, and at $100, maybe save that $100 and just buy a better TV that's going to upscale it better naturally anyway, and upscale all your content.
Yeah, a TV with like proper upscaling will look great if it allows you to upscale through the HDMI. But if you have a 4K TV and you want to,
and if it's
you have
not the
$100,
greatest at upscaling, and you just want to spend $100, there you go. So you're not going to replace your TV just for upscaling a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, and this will upscale pretty much anything really. It's not just for your Nintendo Switch, and it seems to do a really good job at least from this review. I do want to look more into it because I kind of want to check it out. I think this is kind of an interesting niche piece of tech. I don't think we're ever going to see a Nintendo Switch with true 4K or even 4K upscaling anytime soon. This might be your best bet.
But they're also probably betting most TVs are good enough at upscaling already.
Yeah,
is their bet, honestly.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this works, because I kind of want to get it. I mean, it looks from these sample images and from some of the videos that I've seen, it looks like it does a really good job at it. So there you go. There's the M Classic, Marseille M Classic, and there's also other products here. That what is this? The M cable? I don't know what this is.
Another thing I would be interested in seeing this is putting this into the dock before you put it into a capture card.
Interesting.
Would that have a noticeable impact on capture quality?
I'm sure it
would. That's where I can honestly see it being the most helpful, just because you're not going to your capture card or a monitor. You're not going to be. They don't have an upscaler, basically.
Yeah.
That's where you'd see the most benefit. But if you're just plugging it into your TV, chances are, unless you bought like the first gen 4K TV, your TV's upscaling naturally is probably about the same as this, to me.
Yeah, if it upscales through the HDMI, like if it takes that through the HDMI and upscales it, I know a lot of TVs don't do that. You have to send the 4K signal through. But definitely with a capture card, it will definitely upscale for you, which I'm curious to know too if that will increase, even if it's like increasing its 1080p performance. You know what I mean? It's 1080p look, because that could be interesting. So this is a pretty cool product that I found. If you guys want to check that out. All right, this is what I want to talk about. So I've been following The Last of Us 2. I'm very interested, very hyped for this game. One of my favorite series. The first one is amazing. I'm thinking about playing through the first one again. Get myself hyped for the second part too. And right now, Naughty Dog. The news story is that Naughty Dog is using Twitter's new feature to block Last of Us Part 2 spoilers. Twitter has this like new feature where you can limit your replies to a tweet. You can pretty much just say, all right, no replies to this tweet when I put it out there, which is pretty cool. And Naughty Dog's been doing this because it seems as if they've been getting slammed with people trying to spoil the game. Now, when I've been following some of the content around The Last of Us 2, I haven't found any spoilers yet. Thank God I haven't looked through them. But I've been noticing that people are really hating on this game. I mean, they fucking hate this game. They're trashing every video that comes on YouTube on it. Troy Baker, which voices Joel in the game, has been basically been getting bombarded on YouTube And he's been reacting to these things on YouTube as well, and kind of talking about this. Like, here's the video here. Troy Baker reacts to Last of Us 2 hate. I mean, there's just multiple videos like this where he's kind of reacting to what's going on here.
Doesn't matter. Look, if you think that game could be spoiled by a couple screenshots, really? A studio with 30 plus years of development, with so many awards under their belt, they can't even put them all in one trophy closet or trophy. Yeah, they have.
One of the critiques that I've seen from this video in particular, and just in general, is that it's more than screenshots. They basically know the entire story of it, and they are very disappointed in the choices that were made in this game. But I can't wrap my head around the fact that anyone can judge this video game that you have to play and judge it just based on text or a few images that have been released. It just baffles me that people are so harsh on this leak.
Welcome to the internet, dude.
On this leak, it's not even.
I'm not shocked at all by this. Negative. There's a thing now on social media that's all about negative clout.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're learning. Negative clout.
That's a thing. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we saw the same with Pokemon, right? When the Pokemon stuff got leaked.
And it's actually a really good game and outsold every other Pokemon game ever in the history of ever.
You would think they would learn. I just don't understand why this is I mean, and I watched a video from someone who has been hating on the game since these leaks were released. And I mean, it's just trashing the game and trashing the people around the game. And whatever, if you want to put that type of content, that's fine. I don't mind that. But what I just don't understand is how you can take any of this seriously. You know what I mean?
How many of them are hiding behind this whole, oh my God, Ellie's a lesbian now?
Well, I think that definitely has a big. I definitely think that plays a factor.
They're pushing this LGBT agenda in our Last of Us 2 video game.
Yeah. No, well, it definitely plays a factor in it. I don't know. I found it insane that people are this harsh on leaks. Especially considering that we just went through this with a few other titles and they didn't pan out. I'm pretty sure we saw the same with God of War. Didn't God of War have some sort of controversy that came out when something got leaked and people were like, oh my God, it's going to be the worst game ever. And it turned out to be one of the greatest games ever made. So I don't know. I found that interesting. Troy Baker's on here trying to respond to all these people. He should just ignore it, in my opinion. It's not going to help. Because if they're hating on leaks for a game, you're not gonna ever win that battle. They're forming
and
they're gonna buy
opinions. Yeah, they're forming reactionary opinions based on a game that is not out yet, on a few small things that might have some major things in the game, but not the full game, of course. All in the search of clout.
Yeah, and there was some gameplay stuff that got released today, and people in the comments were like, "Wow, this game actually looks really good." And it's like, "Oh, you don't say."
Shocker.
You don't say. Naughty Dog, one of the fucking greatest developers of our time. Yes, they're gonna produce at least a good game. You might not think that this is the best game ever made.
Okay, personal opinion. This is where I can believe some of it, and also why I think Troy Baker's a little like that video is just weird. Naughty Dog has The Last of Us 2. I would not call any of their other games fantastic. A lot of them were good ideas, buggy ass messes.
Okay, fair enough.
So let's not rewrite Naughty Dog into being a CDR Project Red. You know what I mean?
All right. I wouldn't say that. I would never say that they're on that level, but I would definitely say that the Uncharted series is definitely like a staple in gaming. I mean,
I can give that where it's like,
and as well as
PS4, they really started to get a lot better. But
there's a reason why
PS3, PS2, etc. Like, yeah, they were the kings of B+ video games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would agree.
There's a
with that.
reason why a lot of games started copying the Uncharted style, like the Tomb Raider games, the new ones. They're essentially they're Uncharted.
Yeah, they're Uncharted. They're the same type of game.
That's how
I mean,
good
there's a lot of
Uncharted
games
was.
like that. There's a lot of games like that. And Last of Us is sort of like, it kind of has its own little, notch. They have their own notch in their belt with Last of Us. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this next one. It seems like, they've been working on it forever. So to say like the people who created at least those two types of games, that they're going to kind of put out anything that's going to be bad is hard to believe, especially off of just a minimal amount of stuff that we've seen and we know about it. And the gameplay does look really good from the trailers not the trailers, but like the gameplay stuff that we've seen. It looks like more Last of Us, which I'm excited. The worst part about this Troy Baker video is he's wearing a fedora, and I don't know why he thinks that this is acceptable in 2020.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. You should never wear any fedora. Anytime you're trying to make any point, you do not wear the fedora. Please leave the fedora at home, Troy Baker. I promise you will win more arguments. Sans fedora. All right. Marvel Avengers Steam to happen June 24th with gameplay and co-op.
Boy, I hope this game doesn't look like trash like it has already.
It looks like trash.
It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look like a good game.
I forgot that this was even a game that was coming out.
I can't blame you.
I thought this was a next-gen title.
Nope.
Marvel's Avengers game by Square Enix.
Everything we've seen of it so far just hasn't looked that good of a game. The gameplay has looked eh.
Have we seen gameplay? I thought we've only seen...
They showed a little bit of gameplay off, I think, like, what was it, last E3 maybe? They showed, maybe 2 minutes.
Maybe I'll have to watch the movies to play this game. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's some gameplay here. I mean, I think it looks kind of cool, no? You got Thor's hammer. You got Captain America swinging his shield around. You got the stretchy guy. What's his name? What's the stretchy guy's name? The Fantastic Four guy?
Mr. Fantastic?
Yeah.
Richard Fantastic? Like Richard Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people need to realize
I will say here, I have never seen an Avengers movie other than Thor. I watched Thor. I haven't even seen Iron Man.
A lot of people are going to have to realize getting into this game that this is not based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
it does look kind of
like there's going to be people voicing characters.
This says September 4th.
Supposed to be.
Oh, this is okay. Scheduled for June to show off gameplay and co-op. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought this for some reason I thought this was a release. Okay, so this is coming in September. All right, moving on. Showcases for Summer Games Fest scheduled.
Can we stop, please? Can we just stop making
Superheroes?
Superhero games?
Spider-Man.
Stop making games. Everyone just needs to stop making games. Stop making remakes. Stop making superhero games. This is not.
Make Spider-Man 2 though. Spider-Man 1.
Don't.
Spider-Man was good.
Please
though.
stop following 2012 motion pictures as your ideas for video games, please.
But Spider-Man was a good video game.
It was an anomaly. Spider-Man.
Yeah,
has
there's not a lot
been,
of good video comic book video games these days.
Spider-Man has always been good.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But that was so much a while ago at this point, and Infinite was so bad.
Yeah, and no one, I mean, other than the fighting community who's played that, you know what I mean? That's not a big title.
Yeah, nobody's rushing out to get Iron Man VR when that comes out.
No. No. I should watch them though, for real. I haven't seen any of them. Should I watch, actually, all right, let me ask you, should I watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all of them? Should I just go through and just catch myself up on it? Do you think it's culturally relative?
You're gonna sit through a few bad movies for sure.
If you wanted to do that, you should have done that for Endgame, but otherwise for cult, no, it's like Game of Thrones. It's over.
It's over. Okay.
There's a few ones I think are good. The third Thor movie is really good.
There's 3 Thor movies?
Yeah, the second one was real. Actually, the second one might be the
Thor
worst
movies were
movie.
good. The Thor movies
the second one was bad. The first Thor
I
was
think the Thor
okay.
movies were pretty
I like
good.
the first one.
The second one was just I could not stand the second one.
When I say I liked, I mean I will say that I
And
watched it.
here's-
They're not amazing. They're not. But like
Here's
Ragnarok
the
was
common.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ragnarok was. Taika Waititi is a really good director.
Okay.
He's the guy who did what was that? Jack was it something Jackrabbit or something like that? It was the one with Hitler.
Jojo
He
Rabbit.
played Hitler. Yeah, Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, I want
Which
to
Which
watch
was
still
that.
also a
have to
pretty good
see.
movie.
Have you seen it? I want to watch that.
It is.
really bad.
It's a pretty good movie. It's nothing amazing. It's not. It was overhyped to an extent for me. Like it shouldn't win like every award in the book like people wanted it to. But it's a good movie.
But it's a good
It's
movie.
definitely a good, solid movie, and it's funny as hell.
Yeah, I want to check it out. I heard it was pretty good. And he made
But
Thor
yeah,
Ragnarok.
so he did Thor Ragnarok, which combined some elements of the Thor comics with the Planet Hulk storyline, which is something that like after the Hulk movies were just not well received and they changed actors from Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo, they were like they wound up finding a way to kind of incorporate some of Hulk storylines into other movies.
Wait, let me ask you: Was
Planet Hulk was done in Thor Ragnarok.
let me ask you:
Good.
was Edward Norton considered the better Hulk?
No, I don't think he was.
See, that's weird. 'Cause
His
I
Hulk
haven't
was-
seen Mark
his Hulk
Ruffalo
wasn't-
Hulk.
His Hulk was better than the freaking Ang Lee movie from like 03, which was one of the worst comic films of all time. But Mark Ruffalo, I think, is a much more. Mark Ruffalo is a better Bruce Banner than Edward Norton is.
I liked Edward
If that
Norton,
makes
as Hulk,
sense.
but I love Edward Norton, so maybe it was biased there. And
That might be
was
why.
that was so
I
long
think-
ago. When was that? When did
Yeah.
that movie come out?
Iron Man 3 is bad. They totally destroyed. They ruined the whole Mandarin villain. And the problem with a lot of Marvel movies is, with the exception of like Thor with Loki, a lot of the time the formula is introduce villain, introduce problem, hero rises, villain dies. We never see the villain again because they die. So you never have to reuse them. So it's like all the storylines in comics where villains kind of keep coming back and different storylines with villains. You don't get that because they just kill them all off.
Hmm.
It's very formulaic. The only ones there's only a few
I
that
know
haven't
that.
done it. The Thor one, like Thor, like with Loki, don't really do it, and Spider-Man with what's his name, Tom Holland. The first one they didn't do it. The second one they did.
I've
Where they
I've
kill the
enjoyed
villain.
every Spider-Man movie that I've seen thus far.
The Tom Holland action, those Spider-Man movies are pretty good. I still think the best superhero film that you should watch is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. I wouldn't go that far. I think the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans were the better Spider-Mans.
Which is funny that Sam Raimi, who's the director of those, who also directed Evil Dead movies, not the new ones, but like the original Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, is coming to direct the new Doctor Strange movie.
Hmm.
So Sam Raimi is making his debut in the MCU as a director, which actually works because Doctor Strange is a character where they want to do like a horror movie, but the director that left because he said that the movie he wanted to make it like a true horror movie, and they were like, nah. So Sam Raimi's a good addition because he does horror and comedy together really well. If you ever watch Army of Darkness, it's pure campiness, but I mean, Evil Dead, like the first one, that's a good B-rated horror movie.
Yeah,
That's
all
funny
right.
because it's B-rated.
Yeah.
So if you like those Spider-Man movies, maybe the new Doctor Strange you'll like. It's the same director.
Mm-hmm. I just haven't really gotten into the whole superhero movie thing. I like the
I'll say
Spider-Mans, but there was too many. I mean, it just never stopped, and I just was like,
they do a good
do I
job
have to
with
watch
casting.
fucking the first one in order to catch up to this one? And then before you
They-
know it,
they
they're at the
You can probably
Avengers.
find a guide online that tells you which ones to avoid or what scenes you actually need to watch. But
Yeah.
I will say the casting is generally really good.
If
Like,
Jerry says it's dead, then I'll probably just never watch them.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to watch them, just watch the Thor ones.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I did
who
watch the
cares?
first story though. I did watch that one, and I thought
Yeah,
that
like
was
if you
pretty
already
good.
if you've already watched the first Thor, I would say watch the 3 Thors because the third one's totally worth it.
Yeah.
The rest of them, like, they're so hit or miss, and like Doobie
What about
was
Iron
saying,
Man? Do you think Iron Man is worth a
No.
shot?
1 and 2 are decent. Well, I think Iron Man
Yeah, and
the Iron
if
Man
you
movies
saw-
got worse as they went on. The
Yeah.
second one was not as good as the first one. The third one was bad.
if you already saw the first two when they were like actually new, which I think most people did, like I've saw those are sure, but you probably already saw them. Like to actually go through that trilogy, like whole series
Guardians
again,
of the
fuck no.
Galaxy is actually really good.
Guardians is good. Guardians. I would say
Doctor
watch
Strange.
that.
I like
was
Doctor
decent.
Strange.
But I would
Doctor- I don't
like
even know
I
what
would
that is.
start with I would do Thor as the top just because like Doobie was saying that it's not as
Civil
just
War-
stupid
not Civil War.
formula.
Mm-hmm.
All of the Captain America movies are actually good. They're all good.
Really?
Winter Soldier, was it Captain America? Like first, whatever the first one is, I can't remember the name of it.
The
Winter
first
Soldier
Avenger?
might be one of the best Marvel films ever made.
Oh wow.
And then Civil War is pretty solid.
Civil War. It's Captain
Civil
America
War's
versus
not bad.
Iron Man.
Yeah, it's somewhat based on the Civil War storyline in the comics.
Have you
Somewhat.
seen The Boys at all? Have you guys seen The Boys on Amazon?
I've heard it's extremely
That was all. That's a superhero
extremely
movie
dark.
or show that I will definitely recommend. That one's
I think something
Amazing.
happened where somebody like blew up or somebody got
I
a
would-
hole in them.
you gotta watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's
I
actually
would
really
say
good.
don't expect anything you're going to see in a TV show in any of the movies.
I've been told
Okay.
not to watch it at work.
No, I wouldn't watch that at work.
Yeah.
No.
The movies themselves are, for the most part, some of them are really good. Doctor Strange, I agree. Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor, those are the big ones in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the rest
I
of them
will-
are, a lot of them are,
Just-
if you've seen X-Men, if you've seen
Right,
any
right.
superhero movie, you've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of like I told you get the general plot of it's. They're all very kind of cut and paste. Ant-Man's good, but I think it's only good because
No,
Paul
no,
Rudd's good.
No, I'm not watching nothing called Ant-Man.
But yeah, what they did, I think, with those, like, they did a very good job with casting. Everyone is cast very well.
Yeah, they just get the best. I mean, it's a superhero formula. They get the best.
No, I mean
guy
like talking about like Robert Downey Jr. is very much Tony Stark.
Yeah, but so would you know what I mean? Like so would Jim Carrey, or so would
I know I disagree with that.
You could put anyone in
wholeheartedly.
that role and they would be fine. It's
I
all right.
don't think you could. I don't think you could do that.
I do like Robert Downey Jr. though.
Wayne is
Like Chris
Wayne
Evans is great as Captain America. Like that's. I don't
Wayne
think you
is
can get
the
Jim Carrey
Chris
to do that.
Hemsworth tweet summed up in a nutshell.
What does this
basically.
tweet say?
Oh, back when Thor was first coming out, there was a tweet of someone ripping apart Thor for hiring this no-name Chris Hemsworth. It's gonna be a terrible movie with this no-name shitty actor because they should have gotten blah 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 instead.
And they were wrong.
They were very wrong.
Like I remember when Chris Pratt was announced to do it, and he got jacked, and I remember a lot of people were going, "Oh, the fat guy from Parks and Rec, he's terrible for this. He should only stick to being a fat guy in comedies." It's like, way to typecast somebody.
How about what's his name? The dude from Silicon Valley, man, getting ripped. What's his name?
Kumail
Kumail?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail
No, you're talking
Nanjiani.
about the other guy. You're talking about
Nanjiani.
Kumail. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of
got
Silicon
ripped.
Valley, there's only 3 of them, which is really sad. Thanks, COVID. But the Middlevich and what's his name? The other guy. There's a 3-show series on Netflix. Middlevich and Schwartz.
Yes.
It's Ben Schwartz and Middlevich.
Middle
Watch
ditch.
Watch it. It's
good?
them doing a improv show, like an hour-long improv live show where they ask someone beforehand to set up a plot and just improv it. I normally don't like improv. They're actually really good at it.
I'll have to check that out.
Worth the watch.
I know they're like Second City dudes.
Yeah, like totally worth watching. And I'm sad there's only 3 episodes. And I normally actually kind of hate improv, but they do a good job.
I would say most people usually do. But like people love Whose Line Is It Anyway? You know, if it's done well, then
Yeah,
it
no,
can
if
be-
it's
then it
done
can
well,
be
it's good. And well, the thing too is that they managed to actually have a cohesive hour-long story that obviously goes to zany places, but it's for the most part cohesive.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They did a good job.
Okay.
I want more of those, but we'll probably have to wait for forever till people can be back in theaters because they do it live in a theater.
All right, 2 new events are coming up for Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley's fake Summer Game Fest. On Monday, June 20th and Monday, July 22nd, Day of Devs and the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley will team up to host developer showcases. Double Fine and I'm 8-Bit are producing the digital shows, the first of which is slated to go live 8 a.m. June 20th. The events will spotlight both AAA and indie games along with news, gameplay reveals, and game-related music performances. And we're going to expect to see Akupara, Anupara, The Behemoth, Finji, Kaolau Knights, Longhandle. I mean, these are like a ton of indie devs that I've...
That's what I'm saying. I don't see the AAAs in here. I see the indies, though.
I see. Annapurna is definitely...
These are the developers, too, by the way. These aren't the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the developers so far.
But yes, I also agree that I like some of these companies. I would not call any of these AAA.
No, none of these are AAA. Maybe they just haven't put it on this.
I think they did say that there's applications.
Maybe
open
PlayStation
for
Lifestyle
people, so-
didn't do their due diligence and get the entire list here. Maybe that's
I think
what's
it's because I think applications are still being accepted, so maybe some haven't signed on yet.
yeah. We would probably see, Cyberpunk and all that stuff.
Yeah, but why would you?
Well,
Like,
they
if
could
you-
just do
I'm
it
actually-
themselves.
I'm interested
Yeah,
in
you
what
can just do it
Annapurna
yourself.
is actually working on. They're an indie dev that I do follow.
Who?
Annapurna Interactive.
Mm-hmm.
They make some quality stuff.
Yeah. No, so a couple of these companies, I mean, I know of them, and their games are okay. But I mean, you give anyone that list, they're gonna be like, wow, cool. Can't wait to go watch this show. All right, head of Platinum Games, which you guys know I'm a big fan of. Boss doesn't think next gen will be as groundbreaking as Nintendo Switch was. What? Big, shocking words from Platinum. Atsushi
100%
Inaba
agree with him.
and game director Hideki Kamiya to talk to them about a range of subjects, including the next gen of video game consoles from both Sony and Microsoft. Mr. Inaba says that while the next generation will certainly offer impressive visuals, he doesn't see the machines being as groundbreaking as the Nintendo Switch, which launched in 2017. Quote, as an industry, it's all very promising, and I don't want to be perceived as too negative, but to give just another example of my point, the Nintendo Switch was very groundbreaking in how it was able to just take a home console and make it portable. It's something that you hadn't seen a lot of people doing before. It took this wall that perhaps a lot of people didn't know even existed and broke it down. So I find that actually a crazy quote, just because mobile gaming is the biggest gaming platform in the world. But it is in a
that's why
home
it's
console.
a
I guess that makes sense.
Really accurate quote, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess it's not a home console either. It's literally just a portable console. If you wanted to put it that
It's a
way.
portable that you can dock and play as a home console, and a lot of people do. But like,
What would be
I can see why that's
groundbreaking?
more groundbreaking to me personally than like
I agree. I would agree.
we have
with that.
more graphic capabilities, but let's be real, they're not gonna fucking use it, so who cares?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with
The
that.
SSD, I honestly think, is the biggest change, and I don't even think that's necessarily.
And that's a
groundbreaking.
cool change for consoles, but again,
Yeah.
for
It's not groundbreaking.
it's not. No, it's not. It's like
groundbreaking at all.
cool. I can
Nintendo
literally
Switch
go
is-
make a Ryzen.
That's the
4
natural evolution, is what it is.
Exactly,
It's the
exactly.
evolution.
The Nintendo Switch is barely groundbreaking, in my opinion. It's just barely there. There was only amount of time before phones you can connect your phone USB-C and then it's on your TV and you can play games that way.
See, you say that, but the reason why it's groundbreaking is everyone who's tried to do that has failed miraculously.
Well, yeah, Nintendo's gonna do it, and they're gonna do it right. What
and this is
what would
what-
be
that's
truly groundbreaking?
That's why it's groundbreaking. Do you really think Apple is actually going to let you use your phone as a fucking real thing for a while? No, they're not. And you think Google has any fucking idea of what they're doing? No, they don't.
No, but I would say that it's just a kind of just I don't know. It's not as groundbreaking as I think maybe he's putting it out to be. I would say that the Nintendo Switch
That's
would be more
fair, but-
groundbreaking if it contained a lot more power to it.
That is fair, and I think we could see that, but I still agree with it because it's the idea. It is the idea we've wanted for a long time. Of cool, I can just plug my phone into my TV and it's a full desktop.
Yeah, it's
I think
definitely the
it's- I think
start.
it's just-
It's by far the closest thing we have to that. Then, well, we now finally put in a SSD that you've been able to get on PC for like 3 years now
Yeah.
into a console.
It's
I think
definitely
this
a
just
start.
reinforces what we've known for over a decade now. Nintendo got out of the power race. They want nothing to do with the power race. They want to just make different things.
See, what I would
Each
say,
system since the GameCube has been trying to push an envelope. Whether it succeeds or not is a different story. Like the Wii tried to make motion controls a thing, and it somewhat worked. And I mean, I still think that even if the Wii hadn't existed, that VR eventually would have found a way to use motion control stuff with their current equipment. But then, you know, the Wii U tried to make this tablet experience with the home console, was a failure.
now, I mean,
And then now the Switch is
the point
like,
that I would try to say with at least in regards to the Switch, if the Switch wasn't considered like a lesser device, then I think we would have been like, all right, everyone's just gonna get a Switch. So for instance, if I could play whatever PS4 Pro game that's available or Xbox One X game that's available on a Switch, then I think there would be no point for those consoles to even exist because everyone would want the Switch.
Like imagine the Switch if it actually had, if it was an iPad Pro.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I agree.
Or if it just,
and that's the irony of it to me is like, in terms of power, I think like Sony, their handhelds up until they stopped making them with the PSP and the Vita, compare them to the DS and the 3DS, they were more powerful.
right.
But they did not succeed at all.
And it's also user interface because the reason why I'm
profiteering memory cards on the Vita was one of the worst gaming ideas of all time.
Well, yeah. So like right now, I have to leave pretty soonish to go back up to Michigan. So I've been trying to make it so my girlfriend can use her iPad Pro on the TV. And going through that dongle life is a miserable mess. It's fucking beyond stupidly broken trying to actually use an iPad Pro and an HDMI cable. It's a fucking janky ass mess. It doesn't.
It sounds awful.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to work. It's a piece of shit. And it won't do scaling, even though they say they'll do scaling. And if you open YouTube app, it'll scale to your TV properly. It doesn't. It also will always split the signal in two. So you actually have to plug in an HDMI and your audio source because it won't actually transmit audio over it, even though they say they will. It'll only do that if you buy their dongle. Like it's a buggy ass mess. And then you're still stuck with a system where you have to get up from your couch to go and touch the iPad to be able to control it.
Mm-hmm.
So like there is a lot of things going for the Switch that I think they did do really well.
Yeah.
Where I wish they could work out an Apple Switch of here's a Nintendo Switch with an iPad Pro in it. That would be amazing.
Wayne, sounds like you really just want a Pro Switch to come out.
Yes. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
I want a fucking Switch with a real screen on it. That's not plastic.
Like to see it.
That's what I want. And maybe like
I
aluminum Joy-Cons that don't rattle. How
much are you willing to spend on it though?
I will spend $1,000 on a real good Switch with a nice OLED screen that I can actually watch movies on, a chip that doesn't fucking.
God, knowing Nintendo, it would cost $1,000.
If they were to do that, if it was cool, stick an Apple chip in there, good memory, a good screen, and then an operating system that actually worked well. Yeah, I'd spend $1,000 on that easily. Yeah, too. Yeah, I
would spend that would be about the max that I would spend on it, but it would be worth it. I would use that thing literally as my only console. Now, again, the thing is like the point that I was trying to make is
it would have to be more open than just the Switch. That's the biggest issue too, though.
Yeah, and the point that I was trying to make is that when you get a Switch port, it's always like it's the Switch port of it. It's never as it's just like a lesser quality version of whatever was released on the console until that gap is completely put together. However the analogy works. As soon as they bridge that gap, then I think it will have a truly groundbreaking mobile device that's dockable, because then you're not losing any quality.
It's one thing to port a game to a console. It's another to port it and have it run really well.
Exactly.
Or look really good.
Especially when you're constrained by the temperature of the device, the Tegra chips that are, very old now.
Having it make sure it runs undocked.
Right.
Do it well before you even care about how it runs docked.
I still think that there's a little bit of a ways to go for them, for me to be like, this is truly a groundbreaking device.
That's the problem with a portable system, is it's always going to be
but I agree with
the port. Not the portable, but it has to run in a certain way undocked. Because if you start making games that are like, well, this is docked only, you're already killing the whole novelty.
No, true. Yeah. No, I agree. But I think we'll get there. And I would agree with Platinum saying like that is more, the Switch itself is much more of a groundbreaking achievement than just upgrading
Yeah, as
the
a piece of
internals.
hardware.
Yeah. And I'm sure he knows more about these consoles than we do. You know, he probably just sees, he's probably just like, oh yeah, we just got a lot more power to work with. We're not getting anything new here, you know? Because I'm sure he's gotten these developer consoles a long time ago. I can't wait to see what Platinum games are going to come out next gen, dude. When is that one Platinum game coming out? Do we have a release on that? The one that with the, it looks like Astral Chain. You know what I'm talking about? What was that called? I forget. Kamiya assures fans that Bayonetta 3 hasn't been canceled. We're still hard at work on it. Okay, so we're going to get a Bayonetta 3. It's still coming. Okay, moving on. Team behind ports of Dark Souls remastered.
The short.
What was that?
A little worried that he has to assure us it's not canceled.
Yeah, all right.
It means it's not close to being finished.
He's just like, hey guys, we're still working on it. Don't worry.
They announced that shit like 3 years ago.
It's coming. It's on its way.
2 years ago, probably, actually.
Virtuoso believe that they can bring in any current gen game to the Nintendo Switch. Now that is very promising to hear. And these are the people that ported the Dark Souls Remastered, Outer Worlds, and XCOM 2 to the Switch. Is that what you're trying to say here? That they ported those games to the Switch?
Yeah, these are the guys that did XCOM 2, Dark Souls Remastered, and Outer Worlds, which is coming up. I think you can preload it now.
Oh, cool.
This is the team that's brought them.
Outer Worlds really on the
they're
Switch?
in a position where they can bring any PS4 or Xbox game to the Switch if they wanted to.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. We developed a clever general-purpose rendering library that allows XCOM 2 to be rendered directly on the Switch without changing the original rendering module from Unreal 3, which helped to deal with the Switch's reduced memory. I'd say that we'd spent half a year just to optimize the memory, and we used many methods throughout this period, including using more efficient formats for files, removing needless memory usage, and even modifying and optimizing the original console's memory system. Yeah, I want to see the XCOM 2 on the Switch, because when I play XCOM on my gaming rig, it definitely stresses it. It definitely stresses it, just CPU wise. So I would love to see how that works on the Switch. Do I really have to buy XCOM again? You know what I mean?
Football XCOM actually sounds super good.
Yeah. Little Nightmares 2.
There's a ton of them now.
Yeah,
There's some that are really good too, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares 2 news coming later this summer. I love Little Nightmares. I thought this was a great little indie title.
I put this in for you.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm pumped on this. The info dropped when they announced the original game is coming to Stadia in a few days. Ooh, you can play it on Stadia. Hopefully the team behind the game are able to give fans a release date or treat them to a new trailer. There you go. Sorry, didn't mean to play that audio. Yeah, the first title is great. If you guys want to play a cool little indie title, it's creepy, it's cool, it's fun. There's a great protagonist in it, and it's just a fun little game if you want to check that out. BlizzCon 2020 is canceled. Is our last news here.
Not shocking. But
no, not shocking.
Got confirmed that it's canceled. It's not going to be replaced.
Remember, any big event that was going to happen this year is gone.
Oh yeah. Well, what's surprising
is.
here is, from what I've heard, they're not planning to replace it or like do it online so far.
Mm-hmm.
But that also makes sense to me, because this is like the perfect year to cancel BlizzCon if they were going to have to cancel one.
Yeah.
Just because all of their big announcements were last year. This year was going to be, hey, new WoW expansion comes out in December. We'll show you more stuff of that. We'll show you stuff of Diablo 4, but like they weren't going to make any announcements or anything like that.
Yeah. Is there any? Didn't they release some Overwatch stuff recently too?
Right. Well, they announced the Overwatch 2 and stuff like that, but like they're not like this. There was no games like slated to be announced or anything.
I forgot about Overwatch 2, honestly,
because it's Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's Overwatch 1 plus.
Yeah. Overwatch 1 plus.
I just completely forgot it exists.
All right.
It's cool, but like the other thing is, the big thing for BlizzCon is BlizzCon was one of those first PAX type events where like the half of it was for announcements, but really the main thing was just people getting together which is the last thing you want to do right now. So
Mhm.
this year was just going to be a people getting together. Shouldn't do that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. All right.
The
We-
last thing too,
Oh, go ahead.
Apple Arcade is actually kind of good.
Yeah, man. It's not bad. Especially
It's
when you get a new
not.
phone and they kind of just give you Apple Arcade for a little while. It's pretty nice. Kind of
No,
introduces you
yeah, I'm
into it.
doing the free month right now because I was expecting to leave, and I've just been using the PlayStation 4 controller and on my iPad, and
Just finding some little games to play while you're
It's not-
out and about.
yeah, it's not bad. Like, there's actually some really quality games. It's now up to the point where there's like over 100, and they're all actually solid. Like,
Yeah.
they're just solid indie titles. And then there's one that's literally a rip off of Wind Waker, which is kind of amazing.
Are you talking
But
about
also-
Oceanhorn? Is that the one you're talking about?
Maybe no. It's something to Legend of some crap 2.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
It's dude. It's Wind
It
Waker.
looks like Wind
If you're
Waker?
playing on a controller, it is a Wind Waker ripoff. Like through
That's
and
cool,
through.
though.
It is OG Zelda. It's actually done well. The controls are good, especially on controller. It's you dodge, roll, you fight. You could still lock onto a target. The characters look like fake shitty Zelda. Then you get on a boat and travel to different islands.
Okay.
It's a Wind Waker clone,
That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out.
but
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, Apple Arcade's it's not a bad deal at all, and it's definitely they needed something like that in
There's
order to
a
clean
lot-
up their
a lot-
mobile gaming. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
a lot of these I'm actually impressed by, so I want to try out more just because, like, okay, I can start maybe getting behind mobile gaming with this because the games are actually of a quality that are like, oh, this I could actually sit on my couch and play for a while and be
Yeah.
happy.
And not be slammed in the face with timed exclusives and time gates and microtransactions.
That obviously helps, but the actual quality of the games themselves, like, I've just been sitting and playing Mini Motorways because I like Mini Metro. That's
Yeah.
from the same company that did Mini Metro, which is a style of game that I really like. But Mini Motorways is a new version of a car game. I can just sit there and play that. Like, I can sit, like, I've been leaving it on my desk here for load screens
Hmm.
when I'm playing other games, basically. But there's also been through the day, like, if I'm gonna go out and sit on the couch, I've just been grabbing my iPad now.
Hmm.
Like, I'm kind of impressed because there's enough quality in some of them that I'm choosing to play them over other games rather than just because I have to,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And to me, like, what makes mobile
new to
gaming
me.
so enticing is that I have all of my stuff on mobile. So I'll have a notification pop in. I can just hop right in there and then hop back into the game. I would love that for the Switch. I would love that for the PlayStation, for the Xbox, to have a lot of my productivity stuff that I
mean,
do. And it just allows me to just...
I don't. Not productivity stuff. Hell no.
I don't mind.
I need separation, dude. No.
Yeah, see, I'm opposite. I like how it's just, if I want to hop into a game for a few rounds and then someone shoots me a text, I can hop right in there, hop back to the game.
No, thank you for me, dude. I
That's
don't, otherwise
interesting.
I will never get work done ever.
That's interesting. That's what I really love about mobile gaming. It just kind of makes it a little bit more seamless there.
The last thing I need to be doing while answering my emails is actually playing games. Like,
I love it, dude. I can get so... I'll fucking go through some dungeons on Elder Scrolls Blades and be like, holy shit, I just wasted an hour. Not good. But that's
yeah, see, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
That's what entices me the most to mobile gaming, and that's what I think is lacking from the Switch. Is, I mean, to me, on the Switch is just games, and I would love to have like a little bit more usability out of it because it is a big mobile screen, and
I'm fine with that because it is just it's a game console. Like, that's what I signed up for. Though I do see that.
yeah, I find that interesting. We have
My
both
point
like
with that
them, but
is
we just
I'm
have
more
different use
impressed
cases.
with the actual quality of the game
Yeah.
themselves. Because there are actually finally now getting to be some mobile games that I actually want to play,
yeah,
and that's never happened.
yeah, and it's
before,
great
where
for
I'm
people.
gonna sit and want to play a mobile game.
And to be honest, it's great for people who aren't people who aren't gonna buy a Switch or they're not gonna buy a PlayStation, like my wife and people like that, getting more exposed to gaming in that way, and now they have more quality titles to kind of dive into. I always think that's a net positive in the end. But yeah, it's especially once they added that controller support. Oh my god, it really changed things up.
No, that actually makes a huge fucking difference. I probably would not be saying the same thing if I couldn't play it on controller.
Yeah, it definitely opens things up. Now, not every game utilizes it yet, but they're more and more, especially newer titles, they're allowing them. All right, some tech stuff here, and then we're done. So this is interesting. The Apple whistleblower goes public over a lack of action. So if you guys remember, there's a whistleblower who was basically saying that Apple had these contractors that were listening to Siri recordings, and I mean they had access to a ton of crazy stuff, and he blew the whistle on that. And he basically has come out again and said, look, nothing has changed at Apple. They're still doing the same thing, and I don't know why no one gives a shit about this. This should be an outrage, which is very concerning. And I understand his plight. It's just, it seems that most people do not care about privacy in the United States, at least when it comes to tech, at least not yet.
Oh no, they do. That's why they buy Apple, and they just push this under the rug and pretend it isn't actually real because they believe marketing.
Yeah. I mean, that is the most invasive. That is the most invasive aspect of it as well. Is this like listening to you? You know, like through your Siri recordings. You know, it's the most invasive form of it. It's not just they have access to the encrypted files of your emails. It's like, no, they have access to your voice and, you know, to your device through your voice, which is the most invasive part of it. The only more invasive you can get is if they turn the camera on and start watching you. And I think it would only take that for people to be really outraged. For now, I think people are just going to still kind of be like, oh, I don't do anything that crazy, so I don't really give a shit. That's really what the consensus is. And I'm curious to know more about where this goes and how Apple is going to proceed with this, but it seems like nothing's really changing yet. What just happened? Speaking of which...
it's... I mean, I've been saying that's happened forever, but most people didn't want to believe me. But hey, that's why I give, like, whenever everyone's railing about on Google for doing it, I've always just been like, well, at least they're fucking open about doing it. Yeah. Like, the only difference between all of these companies to me is marketing.
Yeah.
You're crazy if you think they're like all of these companies aren't actually trying to do this.
Yeah. Also, YouTube has been auto-deleting comments with phrases critical of the Chinese government. There has been an update. YouTube has come out and said, well, here's the update from Ars Technica. Google responded to our request for comment after publication. The deletion of comments critical of the Chinese government was due to an error. A YouTube spokesperson told Ars Technica in an email, quote, this appears to be an error in our enforcement systems, and we are investigating, YouTube said. Users can report suspected issues to troubleshoot errors and help us make product improvements. So there seemed to be some sort of like algorithmic thing that they were doing where they were just deleting comments that were critical of the Chinese government, which I'm kind of curious on how you would form an algorithm of that, unless if it was very explicit. But it doesn't seem that way. So a little bit more censorship coming down from YouTube. Now it is difficult, and this is the problem with China. You know, it's not as clear and cut as people want it to be. Everyone wants it to be like, yes, China bad. We should never ever take any cues from China. We should always go against their government. But look, you know, the fact of the matter is, most people in this entire world rely on Chinese production, rely on Chinese innovation, rely on Chinese economy, and we cannot just completely, you know, start a war with China. It's just economically inviable. So I can see why companies are, you know, they do kind of beat around the bush a little bit when it comes to China, especially when you're someone as large as Google and you rely on data and you rely on infrastructure and you're trying to kind of get through into the Chinese market. You have to play by their rules in some cases. And in this case, I'm not defending them for what they're doing, but I understand how it can be difficult to try to play that line. It'll just you'll never win in that battle. It'll always be, you're always going to piss someone off. You're always going to piss off the people when it comes to censorship, and you're always going to piss someone off when it comes to you know, China and foreign affairs. So there's that. And then we have 2 camera stuff here. You have any tech stuff, Jerry?
To an extent. I'd also say it could have been. I, again, I'm a little bit slightly inclined to believe parts of the idea that that was part of an algorithm error, just because I know Google's trying to do arguably too much with AI, and unless you train AI well, AI does bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how much goes, I don't know. It is conceivable to me just because the amount of work that goes into an algorithm is mind-numbing, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like they were just banning people who were using these couple phrases. They were just not banning them, but they were
And that
removing the
could be a
comments.
feature that they're trying to work on in China and got leaked over. Who fucking knows? It is a bad thing. They should be reprimanded for doing this, but at the same time, I'm not
Right. I
gonna sit
agree.
there and crucify them because it's, dude, fuck writing an algorithm, dude. That shit's painful.
Especially when you're dealing with foreign affairs and China, and you have to play that line. Like I said, they'll never win that battle. It's always going to be a problem for them as long as they're going to get into that.
It's fucking painful. It's straight up.
Yeah.
Like, it just is. I do have a couple of things I was thinking about tech wise.
So I have a couple camera stuff here if you want to go over that.
Before we go into the camera, I've been doing a lot more research on laptops because I still want a laptop, basically.
Okay.
So I've been looking into the world of Ryzen and Apple and this or that. I'm still disappointed in the new MacBook, and I'm sad about it, and I'm just grumpy. But Ryzen is even more of a fucking mess.
Is it?
To an extent. It's most, I don't know, just trying to find a laptop right now is really hard to me because 90% of the market right now is still Intel, and they suck.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they don't suck. They're still great machines, but like
There's just something better.
comparatively, right? There's something better, but it's not even so much that there might be something better for the money, which there probably is. It's more just innovation and total seems to be lacking to me at the moment, which is kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
When there's an opportunity here with the Ryzen chips for a lot of innovation to be happening, and just not seeing it yet, mostly because of there's not a lot being developed right now, thanks to the current state of the world. You know, it
Right.
kind of sucks. But one laptop caught my eye. I will not buy it. I don't think people should buy it, but does offer me a lot of hope for possible future. That's Dell just released the G15S, which is a Ryzen powered laptop with an AMD graphics card, and it's the first and currently only laptop out that has Smart Shift in it.
What is
And
that?
So, okay, Smart Shift is what's going into the new consoles. It's basically the new console technology of here is a AMD CPU and AMD GPU, cover it all in Infinity Fabric,
Mm-hmm.
let them talk to each other, and then you can more accurately supply power to what needs it. So you can improve battery life and performance by saying, hey, I need a lot of GPU power right now. You can feed the GPU more power while taking it from the CPU and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on your task, you can gain a lot of performance and battery life, basically.
You're talking about the
And the reviews have been
G515 SE?
Yes.
Okay.
Which, like, the reviews for that, it's really good. The Smart Shift stuff, and this is what you're going to see in the next consoles, looks really fucking good, to be honest. This is a $1,000 laptop that's basically beating my computer for gaming performance.
Yeah.
And with the Smart Shift, it's a 5600 mobile. When the Smart Shift is working in game performance, it's actually, in most games, it's basically being, it's pretty close to scoring the same as the desktop variant of the 5600.
Wow.
Like, it's looks like really cool tech. Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
15.6 inch, 144 hertz display.
Now,
FreeSync.
I'm saying to not buy this laptop because this laptop is fucking ugly as hell. Is a
Yeah.
giant piece of work that it shouldn't be. And
It's got a 4600H in it.
it's a powerful laptop, but
Well, it
oh my
starts
god,
at
I'm
the
not
4600.
I'm not buying that big of a laptop for two integrated solutions in 2020.
What you want is that in a 13-inch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 100%. That is
Or
the goal, though.
14-inch.
Imagine that in a 13 or 14-inch, especially like a MacBook or
I know
something.
that's
like,
the dream.
like that is a huge innovation to me, basically, and it's sad to be seeing this so slowly, painfully rolled out, and people so slow to get on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was looking more into the HS processors, and I messed up last time. The HS processors are really cool. They're the H processors clocked down to 35 watts instead of 45 watts, which is way better. Obviously, you don't want a 45 watt CPU. Still, personally, fuck that. Especially in an Ultrabook. You're all wrong for doing that. But it's as powerful as the 45 watt. It's just like their top binned CPUs, basically. But to get those, you have to develop the laptop in conjunction with AMD, basically. And it's a special SKU only given out to those who
Wow.
like work hand in hand with them, basically. And right
Interesting.
now, that Asus Zephyrus G14 that I still really like, but is still kind of ugly, that has exclusivity on it until Q3.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So that's going to
Because
be the only one
it
so
is
far.
like their top bin
It's an,
part.
the
And
look
which
of
sucks
it.
is I want that's the laptop I want, basically, but instead of the 2060 in it, I want an AMD part with Smart Shift for like $1,000. I'm like, but that would be sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't mind the look of it too much. I think they could make it more simplified and
Like,
downplay it a little
do
bit
that,
more.
and that's the hard part is I still want it to be a Hackintosh, but it's going to be such a fucking pain in the ass to do that because I don't want to buy Intel right now, but I'm going to have to buy Intel to make the Hackintosh.
Yeah.
Everything sucks.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Everything's actually pretty awesome. It's just cooler.
Yeah, this laptop's pretty. This laptop has a lot of potential, and I personally, how much is it with the 2060 in there?
1400.
Okay. Yeah.
1400 for
That is a little
the
bit of a
top of
difference.
the literal best processor in mobile for $1,400 with the 2060.
But that's not bad.
And 16 gigs of RAM and a 12 gigabyte SSD.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
That's pretty good.
Reasonable.
That's way better than you're going to find on any other Ultrabook of that size.
Yeah. No, it's not too bad, and I don't mind the look of it that much. I do think it's a little.
But it's still not the
gamery.
laptop I ideally want.
Yeah.
The other thing that's cool is I really just want to see more of these Smart Shift laptops coming out, basically. Other than
Yeah,
just
I
that
haven't even
one
heard
Dell.
of this technology. I have to look this
Now
up.
I'm sure you have because that's the main draw.
I heard of
PS5
the
and
technology, but I haven't heard of it
Yeah.
actually being used in a product.
No,
before.
this is the first laptop to come out with it. Because again, it's one of those things where they got to work hand in hand with AMD to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was a thing either, that they were even doing that.
So I'm hoping we'll start seeing some more.
Interesting, they gave them exclusivity for that.
Well, okay, so that's for the HS, which you do have to do that. You still have to work hand in hand with them for the Smart Shift stuff because it's a little bit more of a complicated process. You know what I mean? Than just slapping in a CPU and a GPU. But I want to see more of those, basically, especially like with the U series chips instead of the H series chips. Like if you could slap one of the U series chips, which are still really fucking spanking, and a mini, 5500M, like, or a 5300M for like $600-700, dude, you'd be slapping.
Yeah.
Because even the U series Ryzen chips I've been looking into, there's like a couple of laptops coming out for $650 now that destroy Intel, honestly, because also their integrated graphics on just the U series is better than Iris Pro, like by far. So I've been seeing $650 laptops that can play games at 38 frames per second, for example, like any game for a $650 laptop. That's nuts.
Still not the laptop you want though. Not that you're looking for.
It's growing on me, but it's still not.
This is your best bet so far, is the G14.
Yeah, but no. just Apple. Just make one. Stop. Or just make it into a Mac Mini. That would be the ideal.
Yeah.
Like Mac Mini with Smart Shift, dude. There you fucking go. But all right.
Keep dreaming.
Can't do that
with Apple.
Yeah, can't do that because it messes up the product SKU. Because we have to keep a product SKU of parts relevant for 3 years because we still sell that old of products as brand new.
All right. So we got some news from Canon Rumors. The EOS R5 is rumored to be less than $4,000. That's what the rumor is going to be. It would make sense just in terms of what the 5D Mark IV was priced at. This is supposedly meant to
be a lot more expensive than the 5D, but yeah.
Well, the 5D now, but when the 5D
Now,
Mark
yeah.
IV released, it was I think with 3,700.
No, it was like 2,700, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, that was the big. That was the big thing. It was priced like an A7 III would have been. You know what I mean? That's why that camera was huge.
No, I thought it was a lot
not-
more than that.
No, it came out at like 2,700.
This coming around less than four grand, I think, is a very competitive price. What is it? What cameras are priced around 4,000 right now? Or
S1H.
The S1H. How much is that? Do you know?
S1H. Z7. Nikon Z7. A7S3.
How much was the
probably,
S1H? Do
whenever
you
it
know?
comes out.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
It's like 3.5. Pretty sure.
Yeah, B&H offers it for 4,000 for just the body.
Okay, yeah.
So it'd be competing around there,
Yeah,
which
just
would
say-
make a lot of sense.
That's what I was thinking. Its main competitor is, if it's going as ham on the video stuff, is your competitor's S1H.
Yeah. It's still a far cry from the people were worried it was going to be 6,500 from what Australia was doing. And it still could be. This is just a rumor, but Canon Rumors has been pretty good with their rumors on the R5 so far. So let's hope that that it maintains the same thing. By the way, the 5D Mark IV retailed when it came out at $3,500. So that's what
I thought it was like 27.
No, that's what I think it's.
No, the Mark IV.
Yeah.
You're talking Mark IV. I thought the Mark II. The Mark II is 2,700. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mark IV came out at 3,500, and I think that this is going to be priced similarly to it, just because of how they expect it to be the same thing but mirrorless. That's kind of where they're pushing it.
I was thinking of the Mark II because that's what they kept talking about. Of like,
When
oh
it's
yeah,
this
we
is
want to
that
redo the Mark
generational.
II.
Right. Yeah.
The Mark II was a lot cheaper. That's yeah.
Yeah. So I would expect it around there. We'll see. They said it should be announced in late June or July. That's when we should get our full announcement. Actually, they have it right here. Let's see what they're saying. Coming in June, July. That's when they expect these announcements. I've updated the post to reflect additional major Canon announcements that are also coming in July. So there may be two announcements, one coming in June, one coming in July, which I can't wait for. Finally get some excitement.
Well, yeah, one's going to be the R5, one's going to be the R6.
Yeah.
By the R6.
They're probably going to release the R5 first, and then the R6 would be the second announcement.
Yeah. And most people are going to probably want to wait for the R6.
Yeah, 100%.
Or buy Fuji.
100%. And then Sony released a new camera, which is a huge miss, in my opinion.
Really?
They fucked up.
I'm surprised you don't like this.
I do like
the
it.
vlog camera.
I love it.
I love it, and I also hate it and am terrified.
I
of
love it, but they fucked up. It's 24 millimeters. It's not a vlog lens. It's too close. It's too cropped in. They fucked up. I don't know why they thought. They should have learned. The biggest criticism of the last RX 100 was that they took away the 17 millimeter lens and they added it. The widest you could go is 24, and everyone was like, "This is not. You can't vlog with this. It's too close." And then instead of going back to that old lens, which was wider and also more open at 1.8, they go to 24 2.8, which doesn't make much sense. I don't know why they're doing that. And I think that's a huge miss for this camera. It's just not going to be wide enough for most people for its purpose.
It's
sorry
not.
about that.
It is pretty. It is. I think it's wide enough for vlogging, but it's.
It's
yeah,
too
I
cropped
agree.
in.
It's
cropped in.
It's too cropped in for what a good vlog should be, but it's perfect for what people think vlogs are.
Yeah, I mean,
Where
if you
your
need
face is the screen.
If you need a camera that you're going to set down and talk in front of, this is a great camera, especially if you're running around, running and gunning.
Yes. No, not running around. Because this is my biggest problem with this camera is it's a good camera. It's cheap.
I don't mean running like physically running,
No,
but when you're
dude,
just traveling and you want to set the camera
I
down
know,
and
but
talk in front of it.
people are going to do that.
No, don't do
Yes, but people are 100% going to do this. And this is my biggest issue with it is the fact that it is IBIS has been greatly overblown because the IBIS in it is dog shit. It is absolutely
No,
terrible.
it's not that bad. It's not that. From what I've seen, it's not that bad. It's usable.
It's bad. No, it's usable if you know how to stabilize footage in post.
Well, they have a
If
few
you
different
don't,
things now.
which is the majority of the people who are going to buy this camera, it is trash.
No, I wouldn't say it's trash.
No, watch the short circuit video of Brandon just like picking it up and like carrying it around on a tripod. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it
jitters constantly.
It's not the best, but it does allow you to. They do have like a new technology with it where it just downloads the gyroscopic data, and then you can go into post into Sony's like Sony has like new software now that it just uploads the gyroscopic data and does it for you that way. You can measure how much you want to crop in on it.
I'm hoping that's cool, and I'm hoping people will use it. My worry with it is no one's gonna fucking use that. They're gonna say, cool, it's an $800 vlog camera for people who don't know how to use cameras. They're not gonna bother with posts, and you're just gonna see the rise of 1-inch sensor videos on YouTube that are just shaking everywhere.
Well, the problem is it's too tight. So when you do add the steady shot, and then it crops in even more, and then you don't have a vlog, you have an unusable video. You have to have a selfie stick if you want to use this and point it at you while walking around. You can't just hold it out in front of you, which you can do with the RX. I think the 5 or 6 was the last one with the 17mm lens on it.
I agree to an extent, but that's just my concern. Is it's a great camera and it's simple as shit.
I do love it though.
Which opens the door of it's going to be misused a lot. Basically, that's my argument.
Yeah, I mean, I do love it. I think it's a great move for Sony. I just think that they really dropped the ball on that specific aspect of it. And now that they're doing the side flip, I think that's great. The mic port's on the other side. Instead of having the stupid pop-up flash, there's a mic on top. They have the hot shoe mount, which is you can just, with Sony, their hot shoes, you can just connect things to. You don't actually have to plug into a port, and they start working. So like they have like a dedicated microphone that just plugs into this hot shoe that works. It's a really, really cool device, but I think they really missed out on that lens opportunity. It needs to be a little bit wider, and that would be my really only critique. Maybe make the batteries better, because those NB1 batteries are not very good.
Put a charger in the box. You can do that.
Oh, also, it's not USB-C, I don't think.
It's micro.
Yeah, that's a huge miss, too. It looks like they created this camera 3 years ago, and it should have been released 3 years ago, and now they're just like, yeah, let's just release this since we don't have much going on right now. We haven't heard anything from any of their new Sonys coming out. Actually, let's check Sony rumors.
It wouldn't surprise me. Well, because everyone's waiting, because there's rumors of the A7S III. That's what everyone's waiting for. It's probably not going to be that great. But the thing that I still worry about that is just it's mostly too just because this camera's so light. People are gonna whip it around because they can, and they think it's gonna end up looking good, and it's just not.
Mm-hmm. Now I love the product thing too as well, where it basically there's a mode that it has where it just focuses on whatever you put in front of it. So what a lot of people do is they'll hold something up to show the camera, and then they'll put their hand behind it to block the eye detect autofocus. But this one, it just, whatever you put in front of the lens, it focuses on it. I think that's awesome. I think every camera should have a mode like that too. That is really cool.
Yeah. But I just mean like to
All right, I
me,
have the video up. I'm
yeah,
gonna see
like
if I can
rolling.
find
There's
the.
the rolling shutter is okay, but like it's still just handheld. It's jittery as hell, and that is not good IBIS to me. Like when he's just hand holding it, that is beyond jittery.
Like this part here.
Like when he's testing out S-Log and stuff like that and things like that, it's very shaky.
It's I mean it's not good. It's not terrific, but I don't think it's terrible. I think it's usable. But when you put the steady shot on it, then it kind of throws it in closer, which I think is. Why does his lens look wider? It does look good too, just the image quality.
The image quality looks fine. It's just I'm worried with the one he was doing, just handheld with IBIS supposedly. It was very bouncy. It is still usable, but it's just one of those things of I am someone who uses a very light camera. Like my camera is lighter than most cameras, and you do have to worry about shake so goddamn much. And I feel like most people aren't going to do that with how accessible and easy this camera is.
Yeah.
Like my camera setup is like 400 grams. It's beyond fucking light. It's almost like I can put my camera on gimbals designed for this camera, basically. And you have to, if you're walking and shooting, every thought you put is basically, how can I make this stable?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be required for these cameras. And just with the accessibility, I'm not expecting people to latch onto that at first, or be as worried about that or think of that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just want, for a 1-inch sensor, I look at Panasonic or Olympus, what they're able to do with Micro Four Thirds and how stable their stuff is. That's what I would want in a 1-inch sensor.
Yeah, but those are different cameras, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a different. You kind of lose the pocketability. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's terrible. Personally,
It's not terrible.
I don't
It's
think
just-
it's terrible. I think it is usable. Even in this example, Philip Bloom has a video on it where he does the gyroscopic stuff, which I think is cool. He says the problem with it is that you have to use Sony software. You can't use it's not integrated with Premiere. You have to use it and then upload that to Premiere. So hopefully they can figure that out too. I'm never gonna buy this thing. I personally think the RX 100 line is perfectly fine for most people, and I actually don't even think you should be buying the newer RX 100s just because that lens is not wide enough. They have the wider lens. I think it's 17 millimeters. It may be 18.
I do think if you were going to buy an RX 100, don't buy this.
Yeah, I would agree.
100%. This thing's $100 and it's the RX 7.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know what I mean? It's a $500 cheaper RX 100. Definitely buy this if you want one.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But just know the pitfalls it has too, I guess.
I think it's a great product from Sony.
I mean, for $800,
I think they missed. It could have been perfect.
It could have, and that's Sony. We know that. But
yeah,
to me, this is like, if you do want an RX style camera, this is competitive as hell, and you should probably buy it if you're gonna. Even if you're for stills, buy this over the RX 100. It's $500 less for the same fucking camera, a better camera, arguably.
Yeah, especially for any video, much better. And it has the ND filter, which I think they took out of the new RX 100s. They really kind of.
Everything in it is the RX 100. It's the same sensor. It's the same lens. It has the ND filter. It still has the microphone jack. It has the added weird microphones on it, and it's $500 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't buy an RX 100. Buy this.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to. They needed something like this. I thought this was really cool. Something super hyper focused on a market. I'm curious to know how much they sell of it. Once you start seeing these in like Best Buy and stuff, I'm curious to see how they sell.
I think this is going to start selling like hotcakes, dude.
I think once we start to see videos released with people using it and they putting them in their descriptions, then we're going to start to see that trickle in. And once you start seeing them at Best Buy on display and you can kind of play around with it, because that's what sells those point-and shoots.
Dude. Oh, I can't do that, but that's just me.
What?
I don't know. Philip Bloom's videos are shaky as all hell for me personally.
I don't think
like
so.
that.
I don't think so. Maybe you're more hyper sensitive to that.
I am because again, that's like my main focus with my camera.
I think it looks better than warping, like when you put the warp stabilizer on it. When it's like you have
true, it doesn't.
warping.
It's not warp. It's not warping, and it is better than warping. I agree there, but it is still. It's still just super shaky.
Yeah,
like,
it's.
But there is an argument to be made here, where you can buy this camera, and you can buy.
Oh, here's the software, by the way.
You can buy a Crane M2 gimbal for $200. So for $1,000, there you go.
Yeah.
Because the Crane M2 gimbal is like absolutely perfect for this. It's a very small, tiny, compact gimbal that will completely smooth out this camera.
Oops, I have the wrong thing up.
That's a really great argument to me personally.
Yeah, if you have a gimbal, it will be 100% much more stable.
And the thing with how small and tiny this camera is, you can buy, like, yeah, the Crane M2, it's normally $270. I see them on sale for $210 all the fucking time. I've thought about buying them for my camera because, like I said, my camera's beyond stupidly light for a real camera. But that's like the perfect gimbal for it. It's very tiny. It's smaller than in most tripods. It's not like a lot of weight either. That's a really great setup to me personally.
Yeah, and they have small gimbals too. The like that little Osmos and stuff you can get for it that are kind of meant for your phone. They work with the RX series. I mean, I have one and it works with the RX cameras. I don't see why it wouldn't work with this either. I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's at a good price.
Well, that's what the Crane M2 is. It's mostly
like a
made
phone
for
one?
phones
Yeah.
and for compact. It basically is the best gimbal for RX one, like cameras.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's made for, is compact cameras. It's got a load limit of like 650 grams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's its market. But like that, it would be amazing for an art like this style camera, honestly, because it still also has the control sync. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, one thing I do want to note here is that he's not using, in these clips here, he's not using that, he's not hand holding it, and he's not using on that Bluetooth grip that he has. He has an actual selfie stick, and that's pretty tight. Like, that's about as wide as you want it to be when you're vlogging, right there. Without that, I mean, I think it's just too tight on his face. I think he has some examples where he's just hand holding it, and I think that's the biggest downfall of the camera. Because if you're vlogging, many people that are going to get this are going to want to run around with it just in their hand like they would their phone. And you can't quite do that with this lens. It's just 24 is a little too tight. I wish they would have went at least 20. At least 20. I think that's a miss. Hopefully they learn from that, because I think that there's going to be the big criticism that everyone has with it, is that it's just not wide enough.
Especially on a 1-inch sensor too. So that's like, what, a fucking 50 almost?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, there's also this weird like bokeh blur button that's on it, which I think is pretty cool.
That was more impressive than I thought it was going to be, actually, because when I heard about that feature, I was really worried that it was going to be
like a
software mess. I thought it was going to be software.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen in reviews, it does look like it just like cool. It will bump it to 2.8 no matter what, basically.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a good solution of doing that. It doesn't ruin the image if you hit the bokeh button, and that was the thing I was most worried about.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting little thing that they did there.
Like it looks like it just, whatever settings you have on it, it's gonna try to keep it, but bump the aperture to 2.8, or like as wide as it can go. Like, there you go. That's a smart, proper way of doing that.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all we have for news and tech and gaming in this week. Thank you all for listening. We'll catch you guys next week, next Tuesday. Oh yeah, they show this like beauty vlogger thing, which is that's a great camera for that, especially with that product showcase thing. It's pretty cool. I want to get my hands on it. I do want to play around with it.
I would consider playing around with one, yeah. Because I mean, also think
not
of it this
sold
way.
yet, but
this is the same price as the Canon one now. That's really an RX3.
Yeah, I would choose this thing over that any day.
Yeah, they're the same. They're the exact same price.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this slaps for its price point. It's not shit on the camera.
It's a great product segment, and I think Sony was so smart putting it out. I'm curious to see if it's if it's something that I personally would get. I do want to play with it. I can't wait to see them out and about and more people getting them. Not just Philip Bloom. Philip Bloom and Linus is what's his name?
And
Brandon.
Potato Jet, he's got one too.
And Potato Jet, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course
no,
I
like
could get them.
see him. It would be fun to play. Like I kind of wish I could go into Best Buy and play with one, but obviously I can't.
Yeah, we'll have to wait.
But no, it seems like a fun. It seems like a good implementation. It's still not for me, but it's a good job.
It's going to be better than your
And
camera
I'm-
phone. Is it more usable
Yeah.
than your camera phone? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have an RX 100. I love it. I still use my camera phone more. You know what I mean? Like,
See, that's where I was most worried by how I'm calling the IBIS bad is like, it's it's good, but it's good like the way an iPhone is good, where it kind of is, but if you shake it around a bunch, it's still gonna look like shit.
yeah,
And this
no, you have to
camera's-
definitely.
And this camera's light enough that you're just gonna be grabbing it and shaking it around like shit.
Yeah, you have to be mindful of it. You can't just be running around with it. It's not like a Canon 80D, like David Dobrik style. You got to be mindful of that. And like I said, the usability of those cameras, I haven't quite. The image quality isn't high enough yet for me to justify always carrying it around, other than my cell phone. The cell phone is still so much more. I mean, the quality of the stuff that you catch on your cell phone is good, and it hasn't quite taken that leap yet. But once
True.
it does, then cell phones cameras are gonna be. It's gonna be interesting on how many people make that trade off. You know.
No, I agree, because like this does look good. This looks better than like vlogging with an iPhone for sure. But at the same time,
But are you gonna use it more? You know what I mean? Or are you actually gonna use it?
well,
more?
but like imagine you're a budget vlogger. It is a good starting point, and it is better quality, so you can use it as your main camera or like your camera. This is now your vlogging rig, whatever.
Mhm.
I think it's good enough that you can do that. The issue is, but if you were willing to make, to me, if you're willing to start a vlogging rig at this point, just spend the extra $200, buy a Fuji X-T30 and put it on a gimbal, or like buy a Canon RP and put it on a gimbal.
Mhm.
Like, that's the issue it's running into now for me, is it is such a almost specialized product in the idea of it as a vlogging camera that it is in a hard price point for just being a vlogging camera. It's still in a really good one, but it's one of those, like, if you're already going to spend 800, why don't you just spend like 1,100 and have a much vastly better image
That you can
processing?
upgrade.
Yeah.
You can't upgrade these cameras. That's another thing. And you break them, you have to buy a new one. You know, there's pitfalls to them. But you get pocketability, and there is, like, when I go on my hikes,
Sure.
I don't really bring my Canons. I bring my RX when I go out and about. I
Yeah,
want to
no.
take photos of food and stuff. I'll bring the RX.
And then there's the flip side of that is you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable always having this camera around with you, especially
Right.
vlogging. Like, you're gonna, if you whip this out and turn it on yourself, you're gonna feel a lot less self-conscious than an actual camera rig. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
100%.
you'll look like a tourist
Yeah.
everywhere instead of like, I'm a YouTube star.
Yeah. Which is a big thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
So there's-
It holds you
there's
back.
things to
Some
it.
people won't go take street photography because if they feel invasive. Like, I remember that was a problem when I first started taking pictures, and I go around the city and I have like a legit camera rig with a 70 to 200 lens, and I don't want to stick that in someone's face.
No.
But I'll take an
No,
A6000,
yeah.
or I'll take my cell phone. I'll take an A6000 and run around all day. But that is a big thing, and that gets into that usability. Not
Yeah.
many people think about that.
No, so there is definite things where there's huge pluses to this system, but there's just also huge faults to it. That's where it's hard for me to sit there and be like, I don't know, it's a hard question of, can I recommend this camera as
Right.
your YouTube rig?
I don't know
In
if
a lot of ways I can, but at the same time there's a lot of part of me putting this like the Fuji one that I like a lot, where it's like, no, this should be a second camera.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. If say they had the right lens on it, it was like a 15 to 50 lens on it, and that was basically it, and maybe a better battery. Then I can be more confident saying you should be okay with this for quite some time. If all you care about is making content, not caring about really your image quality, and you're not doing too much running around.
Yeah. No, if all you care about is starting up making content, this is a slam dunk. This is a steal for the price. Just realize you're still going, once you start getting YouTube fame or start working on actual, I don't know, production, not so much production work, but like if people start noticing or you want to start making better image quality, it's going to become a secondary camera where you can't just upgrade it. It's not going to be like
you'll have to spend another $1,500
$1,000
at least.
I found out. Right. It's not like I've spent $1,000 and then I can spend another $1,000 and be good. It's I spent $1,000 and now I have to spend $3,000.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. But if you do just want, hey, here's $800 to have by far good enough image quality for YouTube that you can take anywhere and never have to worry about feeling like a dork, it's a great camera.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how they sell. I'm very curious. A
I
lot of the people think the
won't,
point and
but
shoot market is dead. A lot of people think
Yeah.
that segment is dead. Cell phones really took a huge chunk out of that. But they don't do video that very well.
I'm now considering one. I feel dumb. I don't like it that much. I don't like the image quality that much, honestly, for me, because I have better. You know what I mean? I can do way better.
It's good enough, though.
One.
It is good enough.
It is good enough, but it's also, I hadn't thought of that point that I made earlier of, fuck, dude, this thing would be so nice actually vlogging in the street, not feeling like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. No,
Like-
it definitely plays a role. And you could throw it right in your pocket and run around. I mean, you don't have to bring the whole rig with you.
That is
Yeah,
a
it
super
helps.
compelling idea. Like,
I love the
yeah.
RX 100, man. I use it all. I use it as much as possible. The problem is like I said, the cell phone. A lot of the times, it's just like I just use my cell phone for this, you know, and I don't whip it out as much as I probably should. But yeah, that like you said, that plays a huge role in actually wanting to use it. You're gonna go out to eat. You bring that camera. It's in your pocket. You don't have to worry about taking out the big lens and then getting someone to get their camera light on there. You can get the right ISO in there. It's just whoop, pop it out and do a little vlogging.
It's right. It's that, but then it's also you're no one's gonna like. I don't know. It's a psychological thing that is massive, honestly, in cameras, and this works. It's the same thing in production too. Of like, if I go take a job filming someone, which I've done, you actually want the biggest fucking camera you can possibly get, no matter what, because the person hiring you has no fucking idea about cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But if they see a label they recognize, or if it looks impressive, they believe you.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that is if you have that big impressive camera, you don't want to carry it around because then you look too important. You look like a target. It's easy to get stolen.
Yeah.
You feel awkward and self-conscious walking down the street with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
and then
that
you
is a
get
big
less
thing.
shots, and then ultimately you
Exactly.
just get less shots.
Exactly.
It is
exactly.
at the
it's
very
harder
least,
to use.
it's a great, excellent B camera. If you already have a good camera, it's an amazing B camera. If you just need to, because that's why I love the RX 100. And this is just a better video version of that. So that's why it's
While
so
still keeping
compelling.
all of the good of the photo side.
Yeah. That's why it's so compelling. Is it perfect? No, I wish they would have went wider on the lens. That's my biggest critique of it. I really think they could have went wider on it. Just as someone who does a lot of that arm stretched out style video, I would have liked to see it a little wider. But
Dude,
also Sony files are
crane-
very easy on the computer. They're not like a Canon file. It is, you load it up and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it, and it does no strain on your PC.
This and a little cheap gimbal is compelling. Shit, I'm talking myself into it. I hate this.
Watch Philip Bloom's
I
video.
don't want this camera.
I actually watched his video on it, and I thought it was compelling. He made a good argument for it.
For me, it's mostly just the it's usability, dude. It's just feeling less like a goon,
Yeah.
like walking down the street. Because I definitely still do that, but especially depending on where you are. So like for me right now, I'm in a college town. You feel like the biggest hipster douchebag if you take your camera anywhere.
I know, man. I know it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's like, no, I just want to have fun and do something cool, but like everyone's staring at you the entire time. Like, and it's just like,
and it is
why,
a target.
dude?
Like if you, at least in Philadelphia, you have to worry about shit getting stolen all the time, man.
Yeah. No, that's the other problem with it's a college town. Like, there's a lot of theft that goes on here. So it's hard to sit there and want to like risk it.
Risk like an $8,000 fucking setup bag. That shit will be mad. Also, if you have that stuff insured, please get insurance on that stuff. All right, let's get out of here. I gotta go. All right, everyone. We'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you tune in. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm posting more over there. Have been. It's a good time. And